She boarded the last train of the night. She never expected to meet the love of her life. The station clock showed 2 minutes. To midnight, rain slicked the empty platform, reflecting the ghostly yellow light of the lamps. Amelia clutched her worn suitcase, the handle cold against her knuckles. This was it, the last train out of the city, away from the life that had crumbled around her, away from the job she'd lost, the apartment she could no longer afford, and the echoes of laughter that now felt like a taunt. Willow Point wasn't a destination. It was an escape, a small, forgotten town where her grandmother had left her a small, forgotten cottage. It was a place to lick her wounds and figure out what came next. The train hissed to a stop, its doors sliding open with a tired sigh. The carriage was nearly deserted, a long, dimly lit tube of faded velvet seats and flickering overhead lights. Amelia chose a window seat, pressing her forehead against the cool glass as the train lurched into motion. The city lights blurred into a watercolor wash of neon and regret, and then darkness. The rhythmic clatter of the wheels on the track was a hypnotic drumbeat, pulling her deeper into her own melancholy. That's when she saw him. He was sitting a few rows ahead, on the opposite side of the aisle. His reflection was superimposed over the fleeting darkness outside. He had a sketchbook open on his lap, a pencil dancing across the page, with a focused intensity that was captivating. He seemed completely absorbed, unaware of his surroundings, unaware of her. He had kind eyes, even in the faint reflection, and a mess of dark hair that fell over his forehead. For the first time all day, a feeling other than despair flickered within her. Curiosity. She must have been staring, because he suddenly looked up, his eyes meeting hers in the glass. A faint, almost shy smile touched his lips before he looked back down at his sketchbook, a hint of color rising in his cheeks. Amelia's heart did a strange little flip. She quickly looked away, her own face warming, feeling like a teenager caught daydreaming in class. She tried to read the dog-eared novel in her lap, but the words swam before her eyes. Her thoughts kept drifting back to the stranger in his sketchbook. A while later, the train jolted, and his pencil rolled off his lap, coming to a stop near her feet. Before she could react, he was there, crouching in the aisle to retrieve it. "Sorry about that," he said, his voice quiet but warm, like aged whiskey. It has a mind of its own sometimes. "No problem," Amelia managed, her voice a little breathless. "I'm Amelia Alio," he replied, that gentle smile returning. He gestured to her book. "Good one. It's one of my favorites." And just like that, they were talking. They talked about books, about the city they were both leaving behind, about the quiet allure of small towns. Leah was a graphic novelist, heading to Willow Point for a writer's retreat, seeking inspiration away from the city's noise. Amelia found herself opening up, telling him about her grandmother's cottage, about her need for a fresh start, without burdening him with the messy details of her recent failures. With Leo, it was easy. The conversation flowed like a gentle river, carrying them through the dark countryside. He showed her his sketchy, whimsical cityscapes, where buildings had wings and lampposts bloomed like flowers. They were filled with such hope and imagination that Amelia felt her own hardened cynicism begin to melt away. He had a way of seeing the world, not just as it was, but as it could be. And as he spoke, he looked at her as if she were a part of that magical, potential-filled world. The conductor's voice crackled over the intercom, announcing their arrival at Willow Point in 10 minutes. A pang of disappointment hit Amelia. It felt like their journey, this bubble of unexpected connection, was ending far too soon. Had it really been hours? It had felt like minutes. "So, this is it," Leo said, a note of wistfulness in his voice. "The end of the line." "Yeah," Amelia said, trying to keep her tone light. "It was really nice meeting you, Leo." "You too, Amelia. More than nice." "Feed." He hesitated for a moment, then tore a page from his sketchbook. On it was a quick, impossibly perfect sketch of her, looking out the window, a thoughtful expression on her face. Below it, he scribbled his phone number. "Willow Point is a small place," he said, handing it to her. "Maybe I'll see you around. I'd like that." Amelia's fingers trembled slightly as she took the drawing. I'd like that too. The train slowed, its brakes squealing as it pulled into the tiny, deserted station of Willow Point. A single light illuminated the wooden sign, its paint peeling. It looked even smaller and more isolated than she had imagined. But as she stepped off the train into the crisp, pine-scented air, she didn't feel the dread she had expected. She felt a spark of something she hadn't felt in a very long time. Hope watched as Leah walked toward the small inn across the street. Turning back to give her one last wave, she waved back, clutching the sketch in her hand like a precious ticket. The midnight train hadn't just carried her to a new place. It had delivered an unexpected beginning. The cottage, the town, the uncertain future, it was all still there. But now, it wasn't an ending she was running to. It was the start of a new story, one she suddenly couldn't wait to write. She took a deep breath, smiled at the moon, and walked toward her new life.